Okay, so welcome. This is Zish, Visionary Life Hacks, here to connect, here to inspire, and here to be the change. If you're watching the live, welcome. If you share this, thank you for sharing. If you're new, welcome new people. And so today, I haven't done a live for a bit, and today I'm gonna, well, first things first, what are we? We're September the 12th. How can we forget? Yesterday was September the 11th. Want to send my condolences, my respect, my love, my heart, and send like a ray of peace in what is good, what is true, and what is beautiful. In memory of the late father, 2 children, and husband, devout Christian, to wife Erica, the late Charlie Kirk. May he rest in peace. And the time is 15:15, not a coincidence. Courage is not simply one of virtues, but the form of every virtue at the testing point, which means at the point of highest reality. C.S. Lewis, The Screwtape Letters. I did not know Charlie Kirk, but he's recently come into my radar because of my sons who like to study debate, and they're really inspired by the truth and how can we live better lives and how can we make this world a better place. And the more I learn about Charlie Kirk, the more I feel like he is a brother. So may he rest in peace, sending prayers and love to his family in Arizona, and may now he help us through these challenging times. Anyway, let's get into it. I won't lie, I'm deeply saddened by what's just happened to Charlie Kirk. It's very sad. But anyway, so I've been asked some questions, and I'll go over those questions off the cuff, off the old cuff. Caution. Bit of a hazard going on here. So I'm going to get into this. So somebody asked me, their concerns are that I'm using technology, and I could be wrong in what they're asking, but I'll do my best to translate what they're asking. So he's a wonderful human being, and he does a lot of internal work. And so his concern is that music and all these hertz frequencies and all this kind of stuff have been weaponized. And I agree with him, it has been weaponized. Music has definitely 100% been weaponized. You can see hip-hop got weaponized. Music went from acoustic to analog to digital. I'm no expert at this, but this is just how I see it from a very simple a layman's terms. We've kind of traversed, I remember records, the records even changed. Originally it was made on shellac, which I think is old bugs. And you'd use a needle, and then there'd be a specific like cone, and there was actually coils, I imagine, in these record players. I'd love to get an old record player actually. And then you'd wind them up, so it was mechanical. And then eventually we went into electronics. And so things have evolved through the music, and so we've gone from like harmonious music, music around the fire, pipes, whistles, drums, flutes made of like 100-year-old apricot, gongs, horns, all kinds of manners of instruments, string instruments, all manners of different kinds of instruments. Then we kind of went into the recording of those instruments. So then you go like reel to reel, analog, and then we go into amplification, valve amps. I'm no expert on any of this stuff. The crystal radios. Crystal radios are fantastic. Crystal radios are actually connected to the Tesla machines, and the Tesla machines are connected to crystal radios because it's all a form of like wireless telegraphy, which is like wireless telegraph, like coconuts, telephones. You look at old telephones, they have Tesla coils in them, induction. And so somewhere along the lines, we've gone from, so when you look at music and how music has changed from the Beethoven and the Wagner and the Vivaldi and the Bach and the Mozart and, you know, the Rachmaninoff and all this kind of orchestrated music, and then the freeform music in like the Saharan desert, and the freeform music around a fire in Ireland, and the freeform music of the gypsy with the guitar, and the gypsies with the bells, and the gypsies with the clapping, and you go through all these different, you know, the voice, the spoken word, the harmonics, the human being, the connectedness to the earth, living a nomadic lifestyle around the fire, you know, living in round huts, Bedouin huts, teepees, different structures, living homes. Now we live in this more fabricated life, cement, concrete, disruptive electronics, disruptive electricity, disruptive clothing, disruptive makeup, disruptive hair products, disruptive teeth products, disruptive everything, disruptive clothing. I just said clothing, didn't I? Disruptive bedding, disruptive light coming out of the screens, disruptive televisions, disruptive radio, disruptive social media, you know, dirty harmonics. Whew. Music. How has music changed, right? So then when we look at Raymond Rife, Wilhelm Reich, Lukovsky, Nikolai Tesla, H.G. Fisher, William Crookes, I think, Geisler, all these amazing, great human beings of the late, you know, George Van Tassel, modern people today, the late, recently, the late Mr. Babcock, John Bedini, Eric Dollard, Aaron Murakami, Peter Lindemann, all these great human beings today, Parker, Edmondson, Mr. Starfire, all these great humans now pushing the boundaries, you know, with real, authentic technology, beneficial life generating technology based on life being ether, not energy, but induction. When we stepped away from the wisdom of Heaviside and Goethe and spiritual living science, and we stepped into this electron, energy, physics, making bombs, electronics, dethroning ether, getting rid, you know, like you combine electronics to electricity. What was Tesla doing? What was Edison doing? They were working, like, I know for Tesla, he was working with things like generators, capacitors, induction, coils, generators, batteries, generators, capacitors, induction, all that kind of stuff, mechanical, very different to electronic. So when you're looking at beneficial technology that is working with beneficial electricity, based on you being magnetic, based on the earth grounding being electromagnetic. So based on the earth being Schumann resonance, the earth being a grounding, creating this unbalanced technology that has the secondary and the primary coils, creating capacitance, focused on God, the life force, and ether and truth. How does that compare to something that is based on debt and control and disharmonious? So when I'm saying this, when something is based on truth and built with harmonics that are harmonious to the life force energy of the cosmic superimposition of the human being and the life-giving principles that people like Walter Russell and Wilhelm Reich and all these great human beings talked about, I actually think the life principle was actually somebody else, but it's all in accordance to life-giving principles. So when you're working with life-giving principles, then it could be possible, then when you're looking into the truth behind what Scalar is, not being banded around by fake New Age gurus, but is coming from a place of truth, and the Lone Pine writings of Eric Dollard and the great wisdom of George Van Tassel, When Stars Look Down, and you're coming at this based on the fact that the human being is a life-giving principle based on electromagnetics. Certain parts of the body are electromagnetic, certain organs are electromagnetic, certain aspects of us are electromagnetic. Like we're all individual, but it's all based under the ether principle. Then, and this is just my take on it, my experience, my envisioning into what this is, from a very grounded perspective, I hope, that there could be something in between, a kind of cosmic space in between, that is neither, and Gabriel Cousins will talk about this, that is neither seen or, like that bit between the yin and the yang, the kind of fulcrum, the 0 point, where something is given, something is received, and something is expelled. So when you look at the original technology, it focuses on the nutrition of what is the metabolism, what is cellular health, and how am I to combine everything that I'm doing, the great in food. Because yeah, sure, you can get everything from your body, because this is the question, can I not just get everything from my body? Well, yes, for sure, you could get everything from your body if you were living in a pristine environment, right? Like a biosphere or some kind of pristine environment where you're living on the land, living on the earth, drinking from the earth, glacial milk, living under the stars. But then I still think that God has given us the abundance of the pasture, the abundance of the colloids of life, the abundance of the A2 dairy, the love of the cow, the love of the land of the milk and the honey, the love of the nuts and seeds and herbs bearing fruit, and the nuts from the trees and the apples, and you know, these things give sustenance, the roots, the herbs like your Hoshu Wu or your dandelion or your acorns, your coffee beans, your cacao, your tobaccos, all these different things are given to us. One man's medicine could be someone's poison, so you choose your poison, but you can bring in these medicines and they can certainly serve the human being. So when you're bringing in the great in the food, and you're bringing in the great in the medicine, and you're bringing in the great in the technology. How do those all work together to support the beneficial, life regenerating, life generating principles of life begets life when we're living in a cardboard box? So how am I to remain human when I'm not able to live at the moment on 20 plus acres of land, 20 plus acres of land. So I have to be very strategic with the things that I bring in. I have to discern what is good, what is bad, what is ugly, and what is great. And I have to stay focused on envisioning those technologies that support beneficial life generating principles. And it doesn't just stop at the antique technology, but that is the entry into this knowledge and truth and wisdom. And this is the true technology. I'm interested in the true Tesla 1910 patent. I'm interested in the true induction. I'm interested in the true, not electronics, but the electrical energy that is, we are electrical beings, and life attracts like, and if I'm bringing in other electrical beings that support that, and that can also include meditation and qigong and learning music and harmonics and beneficial, but I think it's very simple. There's beneficial and there's non-beneficial, right? There's either something that helps you to expand, or there's something that helps you to contract. There's either something that helps you to express, or there's something that helps you to diminish. So I like to focus on things that help me to expand and express and exonerate all those things that are what is good, what is true, and what is beautiful. Inspired by, may he rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. That's what this is about today. This is about what is good, what is true, and what is beautiful. Hey Keish, and so the question was asked to me, well, surely I can get all this from, but then people get confused. They think they've got to go alkaline. And then even like, you can challenge someone then, well, why do you want to go alkaline? Like, nothing in nature says I've got to be alkaline. Nothing in nature says I've got to be acidic. Nothing in nature says any of these things. Nature just does what nature does. Like the eagle goes out today and it hunts. The eagle goes out today and it hunts. Thank you. It goes out and hunts. It takes what it needs and it gets on with its day. Hi Shauna. Hi Shauna. Shauna, this is about the late. I've imbued what is good, what is true, and what is beautiful to celebrate the late life of Charlie Kirk. That was the beginning of my presentation, and that will be the end of my presentation. May he rest in peace. Love to his family, love to his children, and what a great human being. I didn't know him. My children knew him. I didn't know him, but my children know him through his deeds. What a loving human being. What an amazing human being. And that for me is, he is now part of me. Charlie Kirk is now a part of me, in my soul. Like so important. So important. And I'm not a victim, or I'm not under anything at all. I stand under victory, because my grandfather was called Victor. I do not stand with victim. I do not stand with divide and conquer. I stand with focusing on entrepreneurial activities where we can galvanize and prosper and help others. Because if you can help yourself, you can then help others. You know, you can, it's your right. You have to, nobody will save you. You have to save you. And from you empowering yourself to save you, you are then able to conserve and then be able to expand and grow. And that becomes a net positive, where you're able then to support true, authentic community, which actually, when the levels of man in the Western world are becoming more disenfranchised and feeling the need to commit suicide, it is very important to look at those that don't have much material, like in Asia and other countries like that, Africa, where their focus is on family values, being a great husband, having a wife, having children, and having a homestead. And I'm going to finish it on this as I started it. Courage is not simply one of the virtues, but the form of every virtue at the testing point, which means at the point of highest reality. That is from C.S. Lewis, The Screwtape Letters. It's very important right now. Like, courage represents ether, and ether represents life. You either represent life and the life-giving principles, or you represent death and I'm not getting wrapped up in this, you know, because life and death is a cycle and there is a life regeneration. I'm not getting into that. I'm just saying you either represent a death cult or a living, like a rainbow, take back the rainbow, a rainbow, life, living, liberty experience, where you're for the human experience, the great in food, the great in medicine, the great in technology, and the great in our hearts. The great in our hearts. Anyway, enough said. I hope I answered Dan's question. I could have just answered Dan in a private DM. I thought it was a great question and I wanted to answer it here today. It seems poignant that I answer it today on September the 12th. And tomorrow is September the 13th. And I felt it was important to answer that question here today. Anyway, this is Brother Zish chiming in from the mountain. This is going to go up onto YouTube. If you like my content, please subscribe. If you think this knowledge needs to go out into the algorithms, subscribe. You know, leave a comment. Share it. Just subscribe. Help the brother. Yes. Hi, Shona. Hi, Shona. Yes, we will. We will. We are over the enemy lines. We are over the target. This is like, if anything, Charlie's just, I didn't really know about him. He's come into my life. I've just sat there this morning and watched the whole 1 hour and 38 minutes of an Oxford Union. I am ashamed of the way that this so-called British man spoke up like he's some kind of wannabe Malcolm X, and I'll just share this. His argument was flawed. And Charlie just, what a man, like holding his hand on the Oxford table. C.S. Lewis and Tolkien he's going to be sat with those greats today, the Inklings. I see him as an Inkling. I just see, I listened today to Candace Owens' tribute to him. They were great friends. He was a brother to her. And so I see him as a brother to me, because I'm like, wow. And I have my reasons why I think they've assassinated him today, because I think it's related to the work of Candace. They were brother and sister like that. And so once you get into the meat and potato, and the fact that this was a military son, and you look into the work of what Candace is doing now, and you look into some of these experiments that were done by naval intelligence, your MK Ultras and all that kind of stuff, your ELF waves. It's all, see, for me, this is all interoperable and it's all connected. Everything's connected. We're all connected. We're not supposed to be divided. But you start to see, I was researching today, there's an amazing, he's not a psychologist, he's more than that. There's an amazing human, I'm going to watch that next. It's by a gentleman called, this is actually a really important thing to watch as well. So the thing to check out is really important. I think his name is Chaz Hughes. And Chaz Hughes was on Chaz Hughes. I've kind of gone a bit off topic, but it's all relevant. It's all connected because it's all about life. It's all about ether. It's all about induction. It's all about the fake versus the real. And so when you check, this is really important one to check out today for anybody's educational purposes. Purposes today, it would certainly be good to dial into Charlie Kirk's Death Exposed, the biggest scam in history by Chas Hughes. That would certainly be worth having a research into, because you can definitely see that there's and also a really valuable insight would be look out for Charlie and what's going on with Robert Westman. So when you look at if the shooter is the shooter that they're going to say, which is the information that I received yesterday from one of the groups that I'm in, if you listen to the music that these people listen to, they're being psychotronically programmed with panopticon kind of TikTok technologies, because the Chinese seek to destroy the West. And if you go under Chinese control, you have social credit scoring, whereas actually right now, and I don't really agree with democracy, but right now we do live in a land where I should be, if you don't like me and I don't like you, but we can come together and, you might be like, well, I'm for this, I'm for, I want to be, I'm a vegan and vegan rules, vegan's important. And I stand for electronic EE system, and I'm like, well, I don't. I stand for analog acoustic technology. We can still have that conversation, but you actually start to see it eroding right now in places like Speaker's Corner. And when you hear, we are a bastion of Western civilization that actually does stand for the good in this world. Like, your grandfathers didn't go to war for no reason, did they? The fact that they were even sent to war is a questionable reason as to why they actually went to war. And then you can actually factor into this then the printing press, the radio, and brain manipulation through voice to skull technologies. You can actually put that into the whole equation, can't you? You can put that into the equation. So I've kind of digressed, but it's actually really important that we're actually able to have a conversation and actually able to realize that we are all, like, the problems that people are facing today often is due to the abuse. And the abuse can often be coming today through your TikToks and your social medias and the food that you're eating and the medication that you're taking. Like, for sure. Like, if you are confused as to whether you're a man or a woman, and then you're taking a said prescribed remedy for that, when it might just be something that you might just grow out of. Like, I used to hang out with my cousins Sarah and Sam and Isabel, and they were girls, and I'd be around the girls, but I'd also hang out with my cousins. I'd sometimes come back with like a bit of nail polish because I think they were taking the mickey out of me. I didn't know, it was quite fun. Now I look back at what they were doing, I think they were just basically like having a laugh. But I never came home thinking, oh, I've got nail polish on, maybe I'm a girl. I didn't think that. I didn't think that at all. So that, I used to build dens. Like, if a girl builds a den, it doesn't mean she's a boy, does it? It means, there is a reason we had something called a tomboy. I don't think we ever had tom girls. We don't think we ever had tom girls. We had tomboys. It meant a girl liked building a den. It's like what is... So my point being, if they're then giving you a label, you are ADHD, you are autism, you are bipolar, you are this, take this medication, take this, take that, put this brainwashing into your head, brainwash this, brainwash that, wash your brain with this. Now, you can actually brainwash yourself beneficially, can't you? You could like choose to like read a good book, couldn't you? You could choose to read some Tolkien Silmarillion, couldn't you? You could choose to read the Silmarillion. You could choose to read Way of the Ascetics. You could choose to read... What could you choose to read to brainwash yourself beneficially? Oh, you could choose... What could you choose to brainwash your brain beneficially? When Stars Look Down could be another good option. The Scriptures, which was sent to me by Jason Reynolds, that could be a good start. You know, Ezekiel 36 in the Orthodox Study Bible, that could be a good place to start. Wilhelm Reich, Ether, God and the Devil, Cosmic Superimposition, that could be a good place to start. Dollard, A Common Language for Electrical Engineering, that could be a great place to start. The Silmarillion by J.R. Tolkien. Esther and Jerry Hicks, The Teachings of Abraham. That could be a great place to start. And on that note, this is Brother Zeesh chiming in, Winston Tong. What is it worth? Everything. What is it worth? Everything and nothing. Make it a great day from my heart to yours. And onwards and upwards. Onwards and upwards.